So here's the bomb.
Imagine this, a quiet European evening, stars scattered across the sky, and suddenly, drones light up the darkness, spelling out a message that would make your heart skip a beat. Eala, I love you. And before you can process what's happening, another drone descends, carrying a diamond ring that's about to change everything. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood romance. This is real life, and it just happened to the Philippines' biggest tennis sensation, Eala. Stick around because we're diving into the most magical proposal in sports history, and trust me, the story gets even better when you realize what this means for Filipino tennis and Eala's unstoppable rise to greatness. Quick favor, if you're loving this content, smash that subscribe button. We just hit 5,000 subscribers at Baseline Z, and we're celebrating by bringing you the stories that matter. Over 92% of you are watching without subscribing. It's free, takes 1 second, and helps us bring you more incredible tennis content like this. Already subscribed? You're a legend. Thank you. Now, back to the fairy tale that has the entire tennis world talking. So let's set the scene properly, because this proposal wasn't just romantic, it was cinematic. Eala, the girl who put Filipino tennis on the global map, was on a secret European getaway. Secret being the key word here, because nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. While tennis fans were busy analyzing her training schedule and predicting her next tournament run, Eala was living out every person's dream proposal somewhere in Europe, far from the cameras, far from the pressure, just pure magic in the making. Her boyfriend, whose identity she's kept wonderfully private because apparently some things are still sacred in the age of social media, had been planning this moment for months. And when I say planning, I mean this man went full Mission Impossible mode. He didn't just buy a ring and get down on one knee. Oh no, he hired drones, multiple drones, the kind of drones that light up the sky like a technological aurora borealis. Picture Eala standing there, probably thinking they're just enjoying a romantic evening walk, when suddenly the sky starts glowing. Letter by letter, the message appears, Eala, I love you. Can you imagine the shock, the absolute disbelief? Your brain trying to process whether this is actually happening or if you've somehow walked onto a movie set? But wait, it gets better, because just when Eala's processing this sky message, another drone descends, not empty, not carrying a note, carrying a diamond ring that probably cost more than most people's cars. The precision, the timing, the sheer audacity of proposing with aerial robotics, this is next-level romance, folks. And before you ask, yes, she said yes. Obviously, who says no to a proposal that involves reprogramming the actual sky? The internet predictably lost its collective mind. Within hours of the news breaking, Filipino social media exploded harder than those drones lighting up the European sky. Twitter became a frenzy of congratulations, memes, and people demanding to know who this mystery boyfriend is and where he learned to propose like he's directing a science fiction film. One user tweeted, Eala just raised the bar for proposals everywhere. My boyfriend better start saving for a fleet of drones. Another joked, forget tennis rankings, Eala just won the proposal championship. Advantage, future husband. But here's what makes this story deeper than just a viral engagement announcement. Eala isn't just any tennis player. She's a national icon. She's the face of a sport that barely registers in a country obsessed with basketball. The Philippines has produced boxing legends, basketball stars, and world champion pool players. But tennis? Tennis was always that sport you watched during Wimbledon if you couldn't sleep, until Eala came along and changed everything. At just 20 years old, this young woman has already accomplished what seemed impossible. She won the 2022 U.S. Open girls singles title, becoming the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam singles championship. Let that sink in for a moment. The first ever. In a nation of over 100 million people, she was the one who broke through. She didn't just win a tournament, she shattered a glass ceiling so thick that most people didn't even know it existed. And she did it with a smile, with grace, and with a work ethic that makes professional athletes twice her age look lazy.
Eala's journey to the top wasn't handed to her on a silver platter, or delivered by drone for that matter. She moved to Spain as a teenager to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Think about that decision for a second. Leaving your family, your friends, your entire support system to chase a dream in a foreign country where you don't speak the language, where the culture is completely different, where you're starting from scratch. Most teenagers can't handle being away from home for a week at summer camp. Eala moved continents and thrived. The sacrifices she made weren't just personal. Her family invested everything into her dream. Her parents believed in her when the odds were stacked against them. Tennis is an expensive sport, ridiculously expensive. Between coaching fees, travel costs, equipment, and tournament entries, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars annually. For a family from the Philippines, where the average annual income is a fraction of what tennis training costs, this was a monumental gamble. But they took it because they saw something special in their daughter, and boy, were they right. Now, let's connect the dots here, because this engagement isn't just about love and drones and diamond rings, although those are pretty fantastic. This engagement represents emotional stability. It represents having a support system outside of tennis. It represents balance. And in the world of professional sports, especially in the mental pressure cooker that is the Women's Tennis Association Tour, balance is everything. Some of the greatest athletes in history have credited their personal relationships with helping them reach peak performance. Roger Federer has repeatedly mentioned how his wife Mirka keeps him grounded. Serena Williams found new strength after becoming a mother. Stability breeds confidence. Confidence breeds success. Eala is currently ranked in the top 200 in the world in singles, which might not sound impressive until you realize there are millions of people playing tennis globally, and she's better than 99.9% of them. But here's the exciting part. Tennis analysts and coaches who follow her career closely believe she has top 10 potential. We're talking about a Filipino athlete potentially becoming one of the 10 best tennis players on the entire planet. Do you understand how monumental that would be? It wouldn't just be a personal achievement. It would be a national celebration that would make the Philippines' Independence Day look like a quiet Tuesday. Her game has evolved dramatically over the past 2 years. Her serve, once considered her weakness, has become a legitimate weapon. Her ground strokes have power and precision. Her court coverage has improved to the point where opponents are running out of places to hit the ball. And perhaps most importantly, her mental game, the psychological warfare that happens between the ears during a 3-hour battle in 90-degree heat, has matured beyond her years. She no longer crumbles under pressure. She embraces it. She wants the big moments. She lives for them. This engagement, this personal happiness, could be the final piece of the puzzle. Think about it. When you're emotionally fulfilled, when you have someone who believes in you unconditionally, when you have a reason to celebrate beyond just tournament wins, you play differently. You play freer. The fear of failure diminishes because you know that win or lose, someone loves you. That's powerful. That's the kind of foundation that turns good athletes into great ones. Filipino fans are already dreaming about what comes next. Social media is flooded with predictions about Eala competing at the highest levels, representing the Philippines at the Olympics, maybe even winning a Grand Slam singles title. These aren't just hopeful fantasies from delusional fans. These are legitimate possibilities based on her trajectory, her work ethic, and her continuously improving results. The Philippine Olympic Committee is already planning how to maximize support for her Paris 2024 campaign, although we might need to update that to Los Angeles 2028 for her absolute peak years. But beyond rankings and trophies and national glory, what makes Eala's story so compelling is what she represents. She represents the idea that Filipino athletes can compete with anyone, anywhere, in any sport. For decades, the narrative was that Filipinos were too small, too poor, too disadvantaged to succeed in sports dominated by wealthier nations. Eala is destroying that narrative, one forehand winner at a time. She's proving that talent, determination, and sacrifice can overcome any obstacle. She's showing young Filipino girls that they don't have to limit their dreams to basketball courts or boxing rings. They can pick up a tennis racket and imagine themselves at Wimbledon, at Roland Garros, at the U.S. Open. The ripple effect of her success is already visible. Tennis academies in Manila are reporting increased enrollment, sporting goods stores are selling more tennis equipment than ever before, kids who have never held a racket are asking their parents for lessons. This is the Eala effect. This is what happens when you have a relatable, humble, hard-working athlete who proves that impossible is just a word people use when they haven't tried hard enough. And now she's engaged. She's starting a new chapter in her life that has nothing to do with topspin or breakpoints or world rankings. She's just a young woman in love, planning a future with someone who clearly knows how to make a moment unforgettable. The fact that her proposal involved more technology than most space launches just adds to the legend of Eala, the girl who does everything at the highest possible level. As the tennis season continues and Eala prepares for her next tournaments, fans will be watching with renewed excitement, not just because she's talented, which she absolutely is, but because she's happy. And happy athletes are dangerous athletes. They play with freedom, they take risks, they believe in themselves in ways that hesitant, uncertain athletes never can. If this engagement gives Eala that extra boost of confidence, that additional layer of emotional armor, then the rest of the Women's Tennis Association Tour better watch out, because a motivated, in love, emotionally stable Eala is a terrifying opponent. The story of her engagement will be told for years. Parents will tell their children about the night the Filipino tennis star got engaged under a sky full of drones. Coaches will use it as an example of how success in sport and success in life can coexist beautifully. And somewhere in the Philippines, a young girl will pick up a tennis racket for the first time, inspired by Eala's journey, dreaming of her own Grand Slam victory, and maybe, just maybe, her own drone proposal. So as we celebrate this magical moment with Eala, let's also recognize what it means for Filipino sports, for tennis globally, and for everyone who believes that hard work and determination can take you anywhere you want to go. Whether that's center court at Wimbledon or under a European sky filled with drones spelling the words that change everything. Here at Baseline Zone, we're not just covering tennis, we're celebrating the human stories behind the athletes, the joy, the struggle, the victories, and yes, the absolutely spectacular marriage proposals that make us all believe in fairy tales again. If you loved this story, make sure you're subscribed because we're just getting started. Thanks for being here, tennis family. Now, if you will excuse us, we need to start researching drone proposal companies, just in case.